Hey everybody, December 3rd, 2024, we're going to do the Stevenson Ranch update. Every Tuesday is I do Stevenson Ranch, and then Valencia is yesterday, and then of course the day after Wednesday is going to be Saugus, then we're going to do Newhall, then Canyon Country, then Castaic, then Sundays is going to be an Acton Agua Dulce real estate update with all of the Santa Clarita Valley combined. But currently in Stevenson Ranch real estate, we have total active listings 24. You can get this from SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. You'll be able to see all of the active listings, not just open houses, but everything that's active and for sale. Breaking that up, we have single family homes 14, condominiums 5, and townhomes 5 as well. Difference between condominiums and townhomes in Stevenson Ranch is typically number of stories. So condominiums, if you can imagine, apartment style, just basically a rectangular box where you're going to be sharing ceilings and walls and floors typically with other units. Townhomes usually have nobody above, usually 2-story. I know the Diamond Heads there in Stevenson Ranch, the way that they're configured. Most of them you can enter the unit from a garage or front door, but that's a little landing area. Then you have stairs going up to the living area up at the top, and that's going to be your kitchen and everything else, living room and all that. But that's the Diamond Heads. There's different configurations there, so please go to SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. You'll be able to click on Stevenson Ranch, and you'll be able to see everything that's for sale, and then you'll be able to see all the photographs and all of that without ads, without having to register, without having to give me your name or anything else. You'll, of course, do that when you're ready. So overall of the 24 active listings, the 14 are single family homes, 5 condos, 5 townhomes. You can see that the price ranges vary. Also nationwide, we are seeing a shift in interest rates where they're not really changing much, but that shift is going to be here probably in the next few months, depending on what happens with the Fed. But typically when that Fed lowers that rate, that's the bank borrowing rate. Usually though, when the banks are saving money on how much it costs them to trade money back and forth, usually that money is passed along to the consumer. But a much more important indicator is the 10-year bond. That's actually the market to watch. That directly corresponds to interest rates for mortgages. Now also, whenever you're looking at what you're going to be paying in interest, understand that there is a mortgage interest deduction allowed on your taxes if, of course, you qualify. Talk to your CPA and see if that's something that you'll qualify for. That's going to end up saving you money, typically, depending on your own tax profile, above and what you're going to be paying in rent to somebody else. Plus, you're also building your own equity, not building somebody else's equity. What I've noticed recently here in Stevenson Ranch and the rest of Santa Clarita Valley are the concessions that sellers are offering. Now, that's kind of a misnomer, because now that the commissions are no longer placed into the MLS, we don't know what sellers are willing to pay until we pick up the phone and make a phone call to that agent, because we have an interested buyer on the residence. It's no longer represented online. But I will assure you that in most cases, sellers are indicating that they will pay a buyer's agent to represent the buyer on the residential real estate, first and foremost because of a dual agency issue. They don't want their agent also representing the buyer, for simple reason, because when it comes down to negotiation and you have your agent, the one you selected and hired to sell your residence in the best way possible, then all of a sudden they're now dealing with the buyer. Now the buyer's there, so now they're going to be coming to you trying to get those price reductions, concessions, requests for repairs, those sorts of things. Buyers are going to request for the property, and a lot of times that doesn't end very well, because the agent that they hired is now representing the buyer. So there is no really independent other person like the buyer's own agent that can fight it out with the listing agent. A lot of times in this world, that seems to be a better spot for almost everybody. Dual agency is still allowed in the state of California, so the agent that lists the house in Stevenson Ranch can also represent the buyer on that same residence. In a lot of other states, you have 7, plus Canada, I believe, is the number now. That practice is outlawed. They don't allow it. You need your own representative in these other states. You'll have to look at the document that you get. It's called an agency disclosure, and you'll see who represents who. There's a whole bunch of civil codes on it, just because it is a difficult prospect to have the same agent representing the buyer, especially when it comes down to negotiation. One of my clients told me once it would be like them, if they get sued, actually hiring the attorney that is suing them to represent them. tough spot. All right, so moving into this, the family homes in Stevenson Ranch are a majority of the market, as you could see from those listings. Again, with those cash offers, we're seeing that increase as well. People trying to offload that cash before the end of the year. So the question is, can you close in Stevenson Ranch if you're writing a cash offer on a piece of real estate? It's going to depend on that upfront negotiation, but what you're going to want to do is put it in contract that this property needs to close by a specific date or you're out. So you need to make sure that's in the contract if you are going to be purchasing with cash. Why are people wanting to buy cash before the end of the year? Because they have to get it spent prior to January 1st. If it closes January 1st or later, it's not going to help their particular need. So we are seeing an increase in those cash offers. As far as financed offers, the FHA, VA, and conventional type loans, that's going to depend if it can close by the end of the year. We're getting very close to probably not, but it depends on the lender and their availability. So if you need to close something with conventional or one of these other types of loans, make sure that you reach out to your lender and find out from them if in fact they can actually close by the end of the year and then get that backed up in writing. We have the holidays, we have schools out, we have people going on vacation, we have a lot of things changing as we get into this time of year every year, and I see it more often than not. Buyers go in wanting to buy something and get it closed even by Christmas. That's possible, but it's going to depend on how busy the lender is. It's also going to depend on where the lender's getting that money from. If they're doing it for that particular buyer, probably not a problem, but it depends on when their staff's going to be out and those sorts of things. Also, when you're getting a loan for a property, it's going to be dependent on appraisal in most cases. So what is that appraiser's schedule? Again, that's going to fall back on the lender, but it's a good thing to know and get verified in writing before you jump in to this market at this late time in 2024. I will tell you, sellers that are out there wanting to sell now are incredibly serious and want to get their property sold as soon as possible. So if you see listings on the market now and they haven't had a price reduction for a while, as a buyer, you might be able to use that to your advantage, but make sure you just don't send some lowball offer to the seller. Make sure your agent backs it up with common sense comps, things that look just like the seller's property in the same format that have closed within the last 180 days, that they can show the seller, this is why I offer this particular amount, so that there's no offense, none taken. I understand that, but that's good to know. As a seller out there, if you're getting an offer like that, just reevaluate it. Look at your overall market picture, what you're wanting to do, why you're wanting to sell, and what happens if you don't sell now and hold off. What's going to end up happening when we get more listings, as we always do March, you're going to have higher competition at that time. Right now, you're probably without much competition at all in any of the Santa Clarita Valley cities, and especially Stevenson Ranch. I'm Connor with Honor. Thank you for watching today's update. Go to SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. You'll see the book that I've written there on the home page. Feel free to check it out. It's fantastic. It has been updated for Santa Clarita Valley, specifically 2025 edition, and I do keep it evergreen, so there are new releases quite often. Right now I'm working on my vendor list. Once I get that in there, then I'll republish the book, and whenever you get it, you'll actually have that information, but it's also online on Kindle. I hope you're well. I'm Connor with Honor. Over and out. Take care.